Today on Over a Cup of Tea, we have a very young magician. And magician, is it an age to be a magician? That's a big question. So let's meet magician Ishwar. And Ishwar, welcome to Over a Cup of Tea.
Good morning, Chris. Thank you for having me here.
Yeah, the one question which comes to our mind is that magic, from young people to old, it always creates that amazement. What is going to happen next? That is what the question is when you see magic. How were you attracted to magic and how did you come into being a magician?
Well, like you said, it all starts with that question, and the main thing is how you address that question. Like you can just be fascinated and then remain like that, or you can actually wish for you to be on the stage and you to be that person who creates that sense of amazement in others. That was the thought that came to my mind when I saw not my first show. Actually, I saw Mudugat sir performing something. It was in TDM Hall, and that performance, it created the spark in me. Like I wanted to do what he does. Like as a kid, what he did made me smile. So all I thought was, what if I could make other people smile just the way he did? That would be something great. So
There have
here I
been
am.
many people who have been doing magic in different ways. Like you have Penn and Teller, you have Houdini, you have many people like Chris Angel who goes into a different level. All these people have their own genre of magic. Like you have horror, you have illusion, you have stage, you have street. So how did you actually find out like you want to be this and this is the kind of magic? Have you reached that point?
I'm still, en route to reaching somewhere as they are now. They are very established, as you know. But then I consider myself to be a close-up magician because that is, of course, everything is equally challenging. But then being a close-up magician, you are doing something right under the spectator's nose, and it actually gives that sense of personal touch. It's like a one-on-one thing that happens between you and the spectator, so that makes it all the more personal, and the touching sensation it creates for the spectator after the act is done, that is also something special. But of course, now I started to do more of stage shows, and I'm trying to spread my, what you can say, the genre of which like I perform. I'm trying to spread that into multiple ways. I even started a bit of comedy magic.
So when it comes to magic, usually what happens is every person in the crowd wants to say that, oh, I know how that trick is done. So that is a kind of feeling which everyone has. So how do you tackle that, and how interesting was it?
Well, actually, that is one of the most interesting things to perform. In magic, you call a person who tries to interrupt a show a heckler. And the most beautiful shows I've ever performed is when a heckler decided to make everything difficult for me. And you can actually see this heckler in two different ways. You can either make a fool of him in front of the whole crowd, which is very interesting to us, the performers and the crowd, but not for the heckler. Or the second approach, which is something I like more, you can, hammer in a sense of belief onto the heckler so that the next time if he goes to a show, he'll know better and he'll keep his mouth shut. So that way, you can make him think after the show that, oh, I was so wrong about this. There is much more than what I think it was. So
There was a period in time where a magician in US, he started revealing all the tricks, the voodoo magician, and
yeah.
he's revealed almost everything. And the last show, he revealed himself, and he said one thing that people have been doing the same magic over the years. Now, if I don't reveal it, they will keep doing the same thing. So, just to save magic from dying out, he did the whole stuff. So, what do you think about that? Do new magic tricks come into existence, or is it just the same being rolled into a new cover?
Well, that's a very tricky and interesting question. Uh, like as a kid, I used to see his shows. Like it used to air on AXN, if I'm not wrong. And what he did there fascinated me. Even if I knew never in my life I'll do any of those tricks on stage because of the setup and the complexity of things. But then, like, part of me was happy that he shared it, and I knew the secret of an illusion that, say, Mr. Mudugard did on stage. And part of me was also sad that, next time I see something so huge on stage, I won't have the same sense of amazement. So that was the problem there. But then now it's been almost 7 years since I got into magic. Now, if you ask me this question, well, you can say that I support that, because there's no point in staying, eating the same cereal again and again. It gets boring after a period of time. So it all comes to, you have to overcome that.
Usually, what happens in a magic field is that you have a Sarkar, you have a Sarkar Junior. You have somebody like Anand Jadugar, he'll have a Anand Jadugar's son. And it is so very repetitive that a father, son, or an uncle, nephew, they keep carrying it forward. How difficult was it to say, tell your people at home that, yeah, I want to be a magician?
Well, that was again one of the very difficult questions. Like even now, every day I perform, I think of Appa. As you know, he's not with us anymore. I have to say he was very supportive, but then initially, because like he's from a different generation, so according to his generation, this is what he told me: using cards meant gambling, and that was not supposed to be a good thing. And then making money doing magic, which is basically making the other person, think that something is happening, and in the end, that is not what happens. Doing that and making money was somewhat similar to gambling. That was his assumption of things. But then, as a performer, I could not, comprehend that this is how he thought. Because as a performer, when you're on stage and you do a small effect, whatever it is, like make a silk disappear and then show your hands to be empty and bring the silk back, and they paid you, according to him, it's like I am cheating them to get money. But according to me, I am showing my talent and I'm getting money. There's a difference. But then people think differently, and that's what makes him and me. So he was very supportive. And then till date, if I ask for say a shoe, a pair of shoes that costs say 2,000 rupees, he won't get those shoes for me. He'll say, why do you need a pair of shoes that cost 2,000? And the most expensive deck of cards that I own costs 10,000 rupees. So that difference is there.
Coming to another part of it, your family members, are they amazed by your magic, or they say that, oh, again, you started?
This is actually, again, a tricky and funny question. They were amazed in the beginning because, like I said, it's been 7 years. So they've seen a lot of magic that I've been doing. And even now, I don't think they get the same amount of amazement as they did in the initial days, because in the initial days, they really didn't know what was about to happen. Now, as they've seen so much, they've also, grown intelligent. So if I say take a card and then I make the card disappear, they know I'll make the card appear somewhere, probably in a place they least imagine. And then that is, they'll start thinking, okay, where is the last place this card would come? I'm sure this card will be there. They'll start thinking like that. So it gets very difficult. So I don't perform the same way as I do to other crowds inside my house, because when I do here, I'm dealing with a very smart audience. But when I'm performing outside, I just assume my audience to be, I'm sorry, idiots, to be on the safe side.
If you actually look at the origin of the word magic, it comes from magi, and we all attribute it to the Western culture. But if you take the palace of illusions, which is mentioned in Mahabharata, that is again illusion. We have all magicians. We have Gadolgaj who could do magic, and all those things have been there in our system also. You have magicians like Kudroli Ganesh who performs folk art, whereas you have very modern magicians like Ice McDonald who is specialized on stage. So, do you see Indianness in magic in the coming future times? Like in your magic, do you see any kind of Indian folk art or any kind of Indianness in your magic in the future?
Well, definitely. Like what I'm intending to say is that me and Pranav, Pranav Liju, he's a good friend of mine.
He's
Like
into
we've
mentalism.
planned on he's into mentalism. He's actually Asia's youngest mentalist. So I'm
I
very
don't
happy
think
that
you're
he's my
that old to say that he's the youngest. Like you're hardly about a year or two elder to him.
yeah. He's in 11th grade now, and I'm in first year of college. So,
Yeah,
but
not much
still,
older.
like he started out pretty young. He's
Yeah.
been a mentalist for about 5 or 6 years, I guess.
Yes.
But yeah, he really fascinates me. So thing is, we've actually planned a venture. It's called Project 24, and then in the initial stage of planning, you were also a part of it. Thing is, in that, what we plan to give out to the audience is a taste of magic, but with a multitude of cultures included into it. Like just like you said, the origin, everything you have to go back, way back when it all started. Going back like that, Egypt is where it all began. You can say the priests over there, they practiced magic, and then this guy he did magic for the pharaoh called Cheops, and that's when the Chop Cup came into play. Like it's all been a thing of evolution, be it the case of man or magic. It's all been evolution from there. Like imagine hiding food inside a cup and giving it to the poor, and then hiding a ball in front of say 100 people and performing. It's the same concept, but then the presentation is what makes it all the more different. Just like you said, taking the thing from the cover, putting a new cover, and then selling it. So it all, how you present it. That's what makes it all the more interesting. I can take the same chop cup and I can, add some Indian culture to it and then perform it. So you can actually add a Indianness to any trick. And since I'm an Indian and I intend to do my shows outside India, of course I'll be using my country's cultural influences in my show. That makes it, that gives it that personal touch that has never been seen before outside.
Have you ever felt that amongst your friends you're a celebrity?
Well, no, not amongst my friends at least. Like there are people who have come up to me after my shows, or I've seen people at meetups. Like there's a group called Hidden Tales. It's actually a bunch of photographers. So I used to perform there before Corona happened, and after shows or in between performances, people would actually come up to me and they'll talk to me as if I'm some, great guy. But only I know that I'm just a beginner, and they are actually respecting me so much because they haven't seen the real lead. So, and or it might be like they can't meet Chris Angel anytime soon, but I'm just 0.1% of what he does, but still they can meet me. So
A
that time I
familiarity.
felt like, yeah, then I might, feel like a celebrity. But then to my friends, well, I wish they don't treat me like that. I just want to be like casually, just, here and there.
There is the journey of passion. Like you have been driven by the passion for magic. The magic bug bit you at a very young age, and the journey will have all its ups and downs. Which was your lowest or saddest point where you felt like, no, I don't want to go forward, and which was the highest point where you felt that yes, I have conquered the world.
Well, what is surprising is that these two instances came on the same day, actually. Like our school cultural fest, it's called Chaitanya. I studied in Chinmaya Vidyalaya, Vadutala. So our school fest was Chaitanya. And the thing is, Chaitanya doesn't happen every year. It happens, say, once in 2 years or when the management feels like it. And I was fortunate enough to be a part of Chaitanya when I was in 11th standard. And that was actually like, only 11th standard students and 12th standard students were allowed to be a part of Chaitanya. And I did this when I was in 11th. And I knew how the things would be. Okay. And by God's grace, Chaitanya repeated itself the next year. And in 12th, I could also be a part of Chaitanya. And I didn't perform when I was in 11th. I just, I was part of the management team. And I did want to perform. And by God's grace, my last year in school, I got a chance. And when I performed for Chaitanya, I realized that within a few months, boards would be coming. And I would have to, stop magic for some time and then focus on studies. But magic was something equally passionate for me. Like, not that I was extremely passionate on studies, you know that, but I couldn't live without magic. That I know you know very well. Because if my mom restricted me from going out to play or watching the computer, I could live with that. But then living without magic, it was like living without an arm. It was that difficult for me. So we had this conversation, me and Amma, and then on the day of Chaitanya, that was the last day I did magic in that year. It was supposed to be the last day I did magic. And at my last performance, I broke down, but I couldn't cry in front of the stage with all those people from different schools. So I went backstage and I started crying like a baby. And people came and then they started, consoling me. They were like, "You did a wonderful show." I'm like, "That is why I'm crying." And they didn't understand anything, and I didn't want to tell them what it meant also. And again, this is, you can say, call this the play of God. That year, they asked me to perform for the annual day as well. So until then, I hadn't, like, from Chaitanya, which happened in, say, October, to the annual day, which comes in about February or Jan, that time slot of, say, 3 to 4 months, I was entirely out of practice. Not even once had I practiced. And then they come to me 3 days before the show and they're like, "Hey, we know you have something ready for us, so we want you to perform." And I was like, part of me wanted that opportunity because it's my last show. But part of me wanted my Chaitanya performance, which was the best. I consider that to be the best of what I've ever done till now. Magic, coming to magic at least, because I've done mentalism shows, which I love. So I wanted that to be the last impression that I left. Or I had to bring up a show in 3 days and perform, which left, like, that was my last signature when it came to my schooling life. It was very difficult. It was a very close call. I called Pranav. He helped me very much. And in 3 days, we had a small set ready. And that set was mind blowing. Everybody told me that was the best performance that I've ever done in school. But then I consider the Chaitanya performance as one of my favorites.
Now, every magician will have a dream show to happen. Have you ever thought of that dream show in your life?
Yes, I have. Like, coming to Project 24 again, what as in, I dream about this along with Pranav. So it's a two people thing. Me being the magician and him being the mentalist. That combo is actually very interesting. So coming to a large scale of people who are attracted to magic and another large scale of people who are attracted to mentalism, bringing both these people under one umbrella, that has been our goal. And seeing Mentalist Adi's show Insomnia in JT Pack, I thought that will be a nice stage at first. But then my dream show is in the Fine Arts Hall, a full house, me and Pranav on stage. And
Long back, I think when Sarkar Junior started performing like all around India, one of his shows in Fine Arts Hall in the nightclub, he brought a jeep onto the stage. I was like surprised how it all happened. Later on, I've been a part of many shows like where a flight comes on stage, where a man goes through a fort. Been a part of Budagad sir's team on those times at least. Now, do you feel that you need a mentor in magic? Because when you see certain people, like when you see Chris Angel, when you see David Copperfield, when you see Mudugard, when you see Penn and Teller, all these people, do you feel that you should have a mentor, or is it comes from within? The passion comes from within.
Well, of course, at some point you need a mentor, but then all these 7 years, I'm completely self-taught. You know that, right? So from day one, everything that I've learned by myself, and that part actually, after performing, say, a 30-minute show, then I tell them I'm self-taught, and if they started clapping, the volume increases because they know I'm self-taught. But then that is not something I wish to carry on until the end, because at some point of time, uh, of course, anytime if you have a mentor, the quality of magic you produce is different. So I need a mentor, but then it has not happened till now. I wish it happens anytime in the future, in the near
coming
future.
coming to another aspect of magic as well as mind training. uh, we are in a way colleagues for one particular course where Anthony and Freddie Jackman, world's one of the top five hypnotists. How do you actually see, do you feel that hypnosis on stage is more fun, or hypnosis for treatment or for therapeutic purposes is better?
Why do you come up with such tricky questions? I don't understand. Well, as a performer, me and you as a doctor, there are two different things. So I would personally love to perform hypnosis on stage and gain applause. Whereas equally, I would also love hypnosis to be used as treatment because, I've received hypnotherapy treatment from Chris Venugopal.
So, do you actually look forward to a life as a magician or as a designer? Because you're currently a Viscom student. So, how do you look at it? Because your videos, if you have a look, probably with the off-field bullets or with the Avengers and the other kind of magic you try to create in the visuals, do you want to be a visualizer, director, filmmaker, or do you want to continue to be known as the magician Easwar?
Well, again, that is like a very difficult question I keep asking myself all the time. And it comes down to this something Appa always told me, like being a magician is very good. Like you can make a lot of people smile, but then if you don't have a show, you don't get paid. Without getting paid, you can't settle bills, and then that list actually goes on like that. But as a designer, I can make money. And being a designer, say you take a work and then the deadline is in like a week. And if I practice doing designing, I can be good that I can finish the work in 2 days and get 5 days free. And if I manage to do that, in that 5 days, I can do something that is related to magic. And then if I get paid in that, well and good. Otherwise, in the end of the 5 days, the next 2 days, I focus on this work. And after submission, I get paid. Again, well and good. Best of both worlds. So the reason I chose this degree in particular is that there are several magicians who are actually video creators or content creators, like Peter McKinnon. He's the brand ambassador for Canon, and he's a brilliant magician. So it all comes down to managing both of those with equal priority. Like magic is my passion, but then this designing job is what gets me food on the plate. So I have to take care of both. Otherwise, it will be difficult.
Okay. Any youngster of your or younger to you, or maybe like Pranav, who started off very young, or you also started very young, what would be the advice you give to them if they want to come into magic, or if they have a passion to follow?
Well, first of all, believe in yourself. Think that you will be able to achieve it. Like every time you do a new trick, it doesn't, come out well the first time you try it or the 10th time you try it. Maybe it's the 11th time that does the charm. If you're coming into magic, I want you to imagine you being on stage in a full house show and gaining applause after the show is complete. You must imagine that and work towards it. Every ounce of hard work you put in will help you achieve that goal. And if that is the only goal you keep, and believe me, I've failed several times while practicing. I practice before I perform so that I don't want to, be sad and mess up a trick on stage. Many people have messed up tricks on stage. It is totally fine because you can only learn from mistakes. I've heard this quote somewhere: try and fail. If you fail, don't stop. Keep trying, but fail better. That's what it comes down to. So,
now, if you want to give attributes to anyone else other than your Appa for your success or your going forward or your journey of passion, who would it be?
Appa and Amma come first, obviously, because they are the people who I first show my tricks to. Mostly Amma because like even now I'm scared to do something in front of Appa because how the outcome would be. Like he doesn't think like how does he do that? He wants to know the secret. That's what makes it all the more difficult to show him something because if I don't tell him the secret, it's like Achanalle, I'm your father, no. Tell me. But then it doesn't work like that. And he doesn't understand that. That was the problem. Yeah, they are the top two people I credit my support
Now,
to.
to all your friends, if you have to pass on a message through over a cup of tea, because when they see you talk about your life, probably there will be another few Ishwars coming forward to say that, yes, I want to be something, be it a magician or a visualizer. So, to them, what would you like to say as closing note?
Well, keep dreaming. Don't think of becoming like me. Think of being better than me. Like, uh, you might think that I'm something great, but I know I have a long way to go. So don't think of being like me. Be something better than me. That's the best thing you can do for me.
So, Ishwar the Magician, it was a real pleasure talking to you, and it was so much fun to know about your journey. And probably I'm also inspired now. I will have to start learning some new tricks and try to be a magician even now. It's possible, right?
Yeah. Age is just a number, you know that.
Right. So, thank you very much for joining us on Over a Cup of Tea. Thank you very much. And looking forward to the huge stage, Project 24 with Pranav. All the best and wish you all success. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Chris.